keeps the cue ball well under control. He's a great potter. If his break's working, it's going to make him a real danger on these tables. I just think this kind of table will suit his game. It's a bit tighter. Probably like it was when he lifted his world title back in '98.
Extension, please.
Very tough opponent. And over the other side of the arena, he's got another tough one here in Marc Fleming. The two Fleming brothers, Marc and Ryan. Marc obviously was the man to knock out Tom Cousins in the last 64, beat him 7 frames to 4. So he's already come through a very tough part of the draw. He's had some hard games. In the last round, he beat Dom Cooney. I think at one point he was trailing Tom. I certainly saw it was trailing Dom. Certainly saw it was 5-4. He came through that hill 7 frames to 6. Before that, David McNamara, 7 frames to 4. And as we mentioned, the win against Cousins. The very top of the draw in the last 64, beating him 7-4. So he's earned his place.
And he's done well to continue the momentum. You sometimes see people have some big scalp in the first round, and then that almost feels like their final for them, and they go out more tamely in the next round.
Wide open, this one, in terms of the quarterfinals. I think both of these players will be eyeing each other thinking, I've got a great chance to make a semi-final here. Next up is going to be Ronan McCarthy against Cole Bedford. I know Ronan would go into that as a favourite, but Cole's got a good record against Ronan.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard match to call, because quite a contrast of styles.
Yeah, just all about how Cole performs in the arena environment. He's not been there this weekend. And then Scott Gillespie, Aaron Davis. Scott is on a really good run of form at the moment, and the last one is the standout match. Craig Waddingham, we've just watched, playing Stevie Dempsey, and I would say, you know, I think for me there's 3 in-form players who look totally in control this weekend, and there's 2 of them that are meeting there, Stevie Dempsey and Craig Waddingham. Scott Gillespie, the other one for me, being the standout, and all 3 of those are in the bottom half of the draw. So obviously Aaron Davis there as well, who's having a very good weekend, so that bottom half is a really tough half of the draw. I picked Dempsey when I saw him play yesterday, but having seen Goobs play a couple of times, he looks like he's got some real steel and determination.
Yeah, hard to choose much between either of those. Neither of them have really given a quarter in any of their matches so far.
I think we're going to see quite a lot of that, a lot of this type of play in this match. Carl does quite enjoy a tactical frame. Very good pull brain.
The fact that this could be said to be the easier half of the draw brings its own challenges, because you may be thinking a bit further ahead. If you're in that bottom half of the draw, the matches are coming thick and fast with big names. You're probably just thinking about getting through, whereas here you maybe might allow your brain to get ahead a round or two. It's not been quite the fluent start that either player's been demonstrating in their earlier rounds.
Red's just starting to open up here though. The yellows are still a mess, but if Marc can cut this back in, he's just going to push a ball towards the pocket. Just trying to take a bit more of a grip. I think we probably see Carl just glance off the 2 yellows that are locked together, because he could open them up, push one into the reds just to make it hard for Marc, because all the reds now do have a pocket. So Carl just needs to think about getting something into the mix just to make it harder. trying to force Marc into taking the ball over the pocket. He's purposefully kicked that yellow down into that space, and now it covers two of the reds to that pocket. That was a clever little shot. Wedges the cue ball in behind, and that's a very, very clever little shot. That's
Well, is this a re-rack? That must surely be
I
a
wonder.
question, because it did seem that the red sort of rocked back after it had gone through.
And I'm not. I mean, you can put a ball in front, but I'm not sure how that's going to help you, because surely that's not going to let you know whether you can actually get a ball through that gap. Because to get a ball through the gap, you'd actually have to move the cue ball itself.
Yeah. Of course, none of this helps you to actually play the shot. The question the referee's answering is whether theoretically you can get the white through the gap. If you can, it's not a re-rack.
Well, he thinks. The referee says you can. I think Carl's going to question it. He says it's touching the cushion and touching the ball. Can't possibly get out, he's saying.
We're allowed. We spoke about that earlier.
Carl's attempting to appeal this decision to the head referee, Scott Price, who's looking on behind. This does matter because Carl's in a bit of a mess here, and tactically he's not in the best shape in the frame, even this shot aside, so it would suit him for this to be a re-rack.
So there we see the head referee, Scott, coming to take a look. Little debate between the two players, but I mean, ultimately Carl just has to accept the decision.
Thank you. Time running.
And to be clear, the decision is not whether he can play the shot successfully, it's just whether theoretically a shot could be played. Well, unsurprising. I don't think anybody really expected he was going to be able to hit a yellow. It was just by the letter of the law whether that was a re-rack or not.
Carl actually won't mind that result. Just comes down and gives those yellows a bit of a tickle, and it just pushes them more into the mix. Marc be looking to open up everything here. Reds are in complete control at the moment, but with the loss of turn in play, Carl will be looking to double this ball up and down. Get it. Yeah. Try and pot the red, or certainly... Wow. I don't think he thought that that was going to go in.
Still at the table, but he's got a problem. He's now looking at whether he might squeeze a ball down the right hand side. Well, now red's a strong favourite, although one of those positions that if you were to go for a clearance, you could open things up, and it's not like the three reds in the middle of the bottom cushion are absolute formality.
Yeah, I don't think you can try for a clearance here, can you? I mean, you've got the one over the pocket, but then what does that give you? I think, yeah, that was the shot. He needed to move that red. The red that was on top of the yellow was causing him the problem. And now he's just given that a tickle. I think that probably plants onto the other red now. So now the reds are open. So Carl just needs to be careful here.
Can he play a loss of turn? Screw into the ball over the pocket.
Yeah.
Very far off potting the second one, but be happy enough with that.
There was another loss of turn there as well. I'm not sure. From where he was, he could have planted the yellow below the 8 ball onto the yellow that's on the left-hand side cushion. Tried to plant the red in. That would have stuck another yellow into that area, right in the mix, because these are now wide open. And that just shows the benefit of that nudge that Marc gave that ball a minute ago, just opening it up and allowing him to make this plant. Carl maybe missed a trick there. He could have moved the ball that was on the bottom cushion and tried to plant the red in, and that would have just stuck another obstacle in there. Taken away the option for that plant. Well, that's a mistake, and now this should be an easy loss of turn shot for Carl. And he could leave a snooker. If he doesn't leave the snooker, he's only going to leave the ball on the cushion, which would leave a very, very tough double or treble. That was a misstep from Marc Fleming. Ooh, it dropped. Needed it to. Yeah, he's laid the snooker.
It's been a strange frame this. 2 loss of turns. That situation with the re-rack.
I think you have to go up and down with this one, don't you, surely? And it's easier to hit off the bottom cushion, but if you go up and down, you give yourself a chance to pot. But of course, the 8-ball's now tied up. Yeah, that's okay. It just flicked the red on the way past and then hit the cushion. Flicked it again on the way back. Yeah, so looking at the loss of turn again. So loss of turn plants through the cue ball in behind the pack. Ooh, maybe just got there. He's not left it to middle. He may have left it to top corner, but again the 8-ball tied up. Suddenly, Carl Morris has turned things around on the yellows. I think you'd rather be yellows now, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's never great just to be left with a single ball if you can't see it.
It just shows in these rules, though. It doesn't take much to turn the frame around. I mean, if this was a different rule set, then Reds would have had a massive advantage. Now with that loss of turn shot, it just means that you can turn it in your favour. Ooh, wow. Lost the cue ball there.
Yeah, just focused on the pot, which maybe felt wasn't a complete gimme. I think players are a bit scared of the tightness of the corners. It's restricted his options though for this next shot.
But now he's opened everything.
He's played a good tactical frame here, hasn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, not a surprise. As you rightly said at the beginning, this is a game style that he's more than happy to play if he needs to.
Yeah, it more than suits his game. He's happy to play every frame like this. I think, you know, if you go into a potting war with someone, then Carl will probably come out second best. But in this kind of style game, it really does favour him. He loves to play this way, and that's opened up the other yellow as well. Now all the yellows are suddenly there. Again, if he doesn't want to take it on, he's still not forced to. He's got a simple snooker again. He can get tight in behind the 8-ball, but I'm pretty sure we'll see him take this one on. That's landed okay. He was just concerned about where that yellow was going, but judged it pretty well. It's come out and he can go up table now, take the one in the bulk area, leave a nice angle. He's going to come across for the one on the side. I would have thought he would have left this until last. He had a nice angle to run up to kind of the blue spot area, just to leave an angle to come back over for this one. Would have, you know, I mean, it's a simple shot to get on the 8-ball from where he was. This one's slightly harder, but you still fancy him to get it. Just a question of personal choice. Carl favours this way. See him loading the cue ball up with a bit of left-hand side, and lands perfectly on the 8-ball. And you got to say that was a masterclass in tactical play from Carl Morris in turning that frame around, because at one point it looked like a fairly forlorn hope. Marc, a great feather of the ball on the break. He loves to feather the ball a lot. Pretty frantic in the way he does it, and then suddenly unleashes. It's a good player to watch, Marc. He's got a few idiosyncrasies about his game. You'll see when he is in the balls, you'll see him. He's kind of got this habit of looking at a ball, and then he'll move his body sideways, maybe even 5 or 6 times, just to keep checking the angle. It's fascinating to see the different styles.
A very good season last year, Marc Fleming. A couple of quarter-finals and a semi-final of a Pro Series event. Hasn't really been able to replicate that form this season. Quite a few first-round losses in the Pro Series. This is by far his best run in this series of tournaments so far in 2024. Wants to keep it going, obviously. Particularly, I think, is in these tournaments, it's not like there are easy first round matches. You're beating difficult players in the first round, so it's not like you get to your natural level and then you can't beat the players in front of you. I mean, if anything, he's going to see this as an easier match when he had Tom Cousins first. Like this quarter-final, he could see as an easier draw.
And this is another frame. This is one of the reasons when I was talking to Carl the other day that I said that I thought these tables would suit him, because these are the kind of clearances. I mean, when he came to the table, this was a really, really tough clearance. I mean, you see that last shot, he's just nudged one ball out, come around the table, landed on a couple of his difficult balls. He's got the one down the rail, which was always going to be awkward because it doesn't really link to much. He tends to, well, I say that and I've cursed him because he's just come up short of position there. He's got a recovery ball at the top of the table, but he wanted to land on this one to the middle, and I don't think he's quite on it. But what I was going to say is his cue ball usually is really good because he keeps the game so simple. Well, he may just still be on it. If he is, he's fine. Especially if he can run through to the gap. Yeah, that's... looks... Well, maybe just a touch straight again. Would have liked an inch less of roll, and he's got an angle that he can just screw through the gap. He may be just straight here, so he may only just be able to come straight back to about where he is now and leave the one at the top of the table. He's going forward, so he's going to use the bottom cushion and come back out. That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, he did well there to miss the reds because he was playing with a lot of pace. It almost threw so wide that he clipped the red, which would have messed the position up.
He's going to be left with a couple of tough ones.
Well, the ball down the left rail that he's going to leave himself is definitely not going to be a guaranteed shot. I don't think he's going to be able to get very close to it.
No, he's going to be playing at a distance for sure. He's just going to take his medicine, but I've got to say, I like Carl for these shots. I really do. Watch him miss it now.
Relatively natural position in that you can just run the cue ball through for the 8 ball to the opposite centre. He doesn't have to hit this too hard.
Yeah, there you go. Watch him miss it now, and he does. Just because he couldn't quite play it at the natural pace that he wanted to. He just had to hit it a little bit harder just to make sure that cue ball ran through. You see there on that slow motion, it was fantastic. You could just see the cue ball as it made contact with the yellow, it kind of skids, and then the top spin takes over and rolls forward. Well, a chance that Marc Fleming would have been hoping for. I think he would have feared the worst when Carl landed on that yellow, but, well, these pockets, they really are causing problems. He's got away with it. Carl's got a one cushion escape. He can go top. I mean, he has to go top. The reason he has to go top, a lot of players may go side cushion here and try and thin the yellow in, but then you lose the cue ball and the 8 ball goes nowhere. With this, if you hit it full ball and pot it, you'd be unlucky not to be on the 8 ball. No, not like that, Carl. Not like that, sir. So Marc Fleming, ball in hand.
Wants to get going here because there's only 1-0 down. We're 20 minutes into this match.
Yeah, he's going to want to place the cue ball where he can just give those 2 reds a bit of a nudge. Well, he's going to take this one to middle. I think he's still going to screw back into those reds. He's going to go forward and leave the angle off the other one. Did wonder if he was going to set it up for the plant, because the plant looked dead set, but if you don't need to take a plant, why would you? So he can just come across, full ball contact into the red, and he's going to be on the one to middle. He's run across the face of them, that's no good. Now he's got a problem. I think if you were where the 8 ball was, I think the left hand of those two reds does actually go, but only from really where the 8 ball is.
He just got himself a bit confused. He almost had too many options when he had ball in hand.
He's going to play the plant now, I think. Can't. Oh no. Well, he could get it to middle and force an angle there. I didn't think he could do that. That's a great shot.
I don't think Carl thought he could do it either from his reaction.
I thought the way he was cueing it, like he was almost going to play the plant to top corner and then come back and stun into the 8 ball, but he picked out one there. That was a great shot. That's another one. Ooh, I was going to say that's another one that's not going to drop, but it was only the weight. It was only the pace. Gave it every chance.
Carl Morris quite often gets involved in very lengthy matches when you're playing on the outside tables and there isn't always a match clock involved. He can get drawn into long games. That's not going to be possible here, but Marc Fleming really wants to just get this early frame on the board. Not the positional shot he'd played, but he's still got a chance at this.
He's come 2 foot further than he wanted to. He wanted this into the corner. That's how he played it. You could see instantly from his reaction. But,
I think that was an important frame because 1-0 down doesn't sound very big, but because Carl does have that reputation for getting involved in some long frames, this is a match that isn't guaranteed to get the full way to 7, so
yeah,
each frame can play big.
I don't think there's any chance this gets to 7. I mean, for a match that Carl Morris is involved in to get to 7, is going to need at least an hour and a half. Yeah, finds the ball in the corner again. Also finds the cue ball as well, though. Got to say that's a little bit unlucky. I mean, the cue ball parks itself in the middle of the table. And look at this. Oh, gets kicked top cushion and in from quite an acute angle as well.
Such a nice layout on the yellows as well.
Yeah.
If that cue ball just somehow stays anywhere near the middle of the table, it would have been such an easy starter. Trying to play down for the ball on the bottom rail, which he felt would be the most difficult one to get on. Not a great problem because he's still got a choice of another one to the middle, but he's going to have to come back for that one at some point.
Yeah, they link up pretty well here. Should be absolutely fine. Just stun down through the gap of the reds.
From Marc's perspective, he just doesn't want to get involved in a slow game. He just wants to get open positions like this, try and get a few on his side of the score sheet.
Yeah, this is exactly what the doctor ordered from Marc Fleming. Get his nose ahead, get one against the break. Him breaking in the next. And you got to say it's very unlucky for Carl Morris. I mean, he did nothing wrong on that break. It was a great break, parked the cue ball in the middle of the table. And it gets kicked in off. Nothing you can do. You think, you know, over a period of time those things even themselves out, but sometimes it's frustrating when it happens and it's a quarter-final.
Always more frustrating when you leave a layout like this as well, because he'll have known that with ball in hand, Marc was highly likely to clear up. This has been a good turnaround from Marc Fleming. Disappointing to lose that first frame. Could have lost the second frame. Probably not immediately thinking about a Marc Fleming or Cole Bedford run like that, so the door is open for that kind of result.
That's the difference, isn't it? I mean, you see Carl in the background just shows a little bit of frustration with his hand, because that cue ball could have so easily got kicked in off there, but doesn't. Bit of work to do though. Yellow below the 8 ball is the obvious problem. You can play short position on
Yellow
it,
ball's in play.
play on the right hand side of the table. But when you do that, you need to do it really early if you're going to play that shot, because it doesn't really link with anything. And he's going to clear these balls at the top of the table first, and then try and leave an angle, I think, to come down the right hand side of the table. He may elect to go into it, but I think he'll probably play short position.
Well, that's maybe got a slight angle. He hasn't got a ton of angle.
Yeah, would have liked a bit of a bigger angle, and you can just play this much more naturally. Now with this, you need to force it with side, much harder to judge. There we go.
Oh, he's played that pretty well, I think.
Yeah, landed on it absolutely perfectly. And now, I say it didn't link with anything. He had to land on it perfectly, just to run through the gap now and leave the yellow to middle, or leave the gap. Just depends on the angle he's got. It's just off straight, so I think he has to come through the gap above the 8 ball. But then he leaves a really thin yellow, so he may have to double the yellow in the middle of the table. Just depends on his shot, how he feels. Yeah, it has to be a double now, because I don't think he can hold. Well, he can't hold. I mean, he can't pop this in the left centre and hold for the other yellow.
The double affords a pretty natural position. It's more missable probably than the cut, but it's not a particularly difficult double.
Nice.
He's playing well, Marc Fleming.
He is. A little grimace. You might have noticed a little grimace there. He would have liked to have got slightly straighter on this to get straight back out. He still can get out, but he's just got the reds in play. Yeah, he could just... The cloth's so reactive. It just immediately grips.
As we tick over the halfway point of the match in terms of time, we're nowhere near the halfway point in terms of scoreline. 3-1 now to Marc Fleming. This 8 ball securing his third frame. Slow start because of that very long first tactical frame, but since then Marc Fleming has looked pretty purposeful. See him winding up for the break. A lot of power again. Ooh, cue ball flirting with that corner pocket. That time the cue ball stays up, but unfortunately for Carl, so does everything else. See the venom trying to put in that. Hit it plenty hard enough to make a ball, but just didn't quite get the split. Not a terrible leave though. No attacking option for Marc, so just going for the containing safety. Flick the white off the cushion.
And now this, given the scoreline, suits Marc. He's happy to see the clock run down.
Yeah, Carl can afford one more slow frame, but he can't afford to get too far behind. If he slips 4-1 behind, there'll definitely be time pressure, and if this frame takes too long, there will be. That wasn't a touching ball, so that will be a foul. So ball in hand anywhere on the table now for Marc Fleming, and still an open table, so choice of colours. That was a good shot. Just had to catch that cannon thin. Didn't want to catch too much of the red, otherwise it would have gone past the middle pocket. It's not going to be a completely routine finish, because where the 8 ball is, you're going to need to play an accurate positional shot to get back for it. And you've also got to lift the ball off the bottom cushion at some point. There's a case for leaving the ball in the breaking area until last to play position on the 8 ball off.
That's not good.
I felt a slightly unorthodox way of going about it. It seemed like that yellow was always going to come into play.
I don't think he's on anything. I mean, if he can get through to the potting angle to the one to middle, then he's been lucky. But it feels like the yellow's just in the way of the angle. Yeah, it is. So he's having to go top table. Good little containing shot. Not quite in. I mean, need to be right in behind the 8-ball. Didn't quite get there. But he's not left anything. The double. No, just again another little containing shot. Similar story here. He's got the thin snick to middle, but I mean the red is right adjacent to the pocket, so it'd have to be paper thin, and the cue ball would be tracking. What Carl's also done is stick the yellow down on top of the red at the bottom of the table as well, which is just going to make things awkward.
Turning this into a big frame now. 4-1 or 3-2, plus a lot of time being used up. If it does get back to 3-2, it's very much anybody's game. If it goes 4-1 and some time is wasted, it's going to be hard for Carl to get back into it.
I see the idea there. I mean, it was clever just moving that red out, but he's left Carl in amongst the yellows here. There's only one problem ball really, and that's the one that he's pointing his cue at now.
So he's going to try and play yellow off red into the right middle and use that red that he's hitting to develop the other ball, I think.
Trusting the luck here. Plant the 8-ball in if you get it wrong.
And even if you don't get the 8-ball in, the risk of course is that the 8-ball covers the pocket and you still don't have a shot on the other yellow. Well, in fact the risk is also that you miss the first ball.
Carl.
Well, he's focused so much on the cannon there, he's taken his eye off the pot. Looked like a very big pocket playing at this angle. Ooh, wow, I'm surprised. He's found a way of missing that. It looked a fairly natural shot. Oh goodness, what are we seeing now?
They're both at it. And he didn't have a full pocket to go for. So it was only because he had to play it at pace. If he could have dropped that in, it was a gimme. But he caught the yellow on the way through, which pushed it to knuckle.
So a doubly big frame now because both of them have got a bit to think about with the misses we've seen.
And obviously Carl's problem ball's out now. You expect him to fire at this clearance. Not ideal. Was looking for a glance off that yellow to then land on it. Still should be okay. It's the yellow that's in the middle of the table, just above the bulk line. It doesn't go anywhere at the moment. Once he pots the yellow to the left of it, it will pass into the top left. So the problem is there, you need to take it. You can't leave it. I mean, I guess you could leave it until last, but you're forced into getting the right angle to get from one to the other. Tricky this. It's getting harder and harder. It's got the yellow long, but he's slightly hampered cueing, jacking over the red.
Sometimes I wonder what he's looking at. He quite often comes round and points at seemingly fairly arbitrary spots on the table. So you can try and play this as a kind of double to nothing.
Shot.
Played that well.
Yeah, he's just got the right angle here. I think he can punch this up. Just come to the right hand side of that red ball. Yeah. And now takes that yellow off the top cushion and then back through the gap. Just look at the angle he wants to leave to get across the 8-ball. Nothing for going too far here. You don't mind being a little bit short. Nothing for too far. That's too far. You can see where he wanted to be. I mean, even if he's straight, he can screw it straight back off the side cushion. This is in absolute no man's land here. If you go through, you're into the red. If you come back, you're into the red on the cushion. How do you get anywhere near this 8-ball? I think you just got to take your medicine and drop it in and take a double. Carl doesn't think so.
Well, that's
What
incredible.
a shot.
What a shot he's played there. I mean, you're absolutely right with what you say. It looked like he was inevitably going to cannon one of the balls, whichever way he played.
I need to see that again. That was...
Well, that's quite some finish from Carl Morris, and at a moment that he really needed it. Well, for a moment that looked like it was going to come up dry, but the last two balls moving have turned out nice. One of them's gone in and one of them's gone over the pocket.
I mean, he won't mind what he sees, but he won't love it. That yellow in the little cluster in the middle, it will go.
Extension, please.
I mean, it's just in very awkward shape where it is.
Going for a 3-ball plant.
Yeah, clever shot. Unlucky. You got to say unlucky. I mean, he was trusting the luck there for everything to come out. But it's a bit unfortunate that yellow's just stuck on the side rail.
It's only the fact that yellow was stuck over the pocket meant that he really had to go yellows. Probably been easier to have gone reds had that ball not been there.
Yeah.
Tricky angle to make that, getting close to carrying the ball on the left cushion, but he's going to have to go back for it again. He may yet get it, but he's getting himself into a bit of trouble. All the eggs are really in the basket here because he's got this one good chance to play the cannon on the yellow on the left-hand side cushion. If he doesn't get out and get on to the next shot, he's going to be leaving the reds. Decent contact, but it was always asking a lot where that ball was positioned.
Yeah, this playing right into Carl's hands at the moment. He's a big shot here. Giving himself a... has he? Does he think that this goes to middle off the red? Well, this would be an incredible clearance if he can get this. No, just need to get inside that red. It was always a big ask.
That would have been a big finish if he'd have
Yeah.
found it from where he was.
Massive.
I mean, if you look at where the 8-ball was, it wasn't completely done, even if that ball had dropped.
Pressure on Carl though, with the yellow hanging over the middle. It's not the nicest table to look at. Marc's pushed that red up onto the left side cushion, which makes it very tricky.
Maybe tempted to use the red that's above the 8-ball to move that yellow, not because he needs the pocket, but just because it would take the pressure off a bit if he could get the yellow out of the way of that pocket. Well, it's potted it clean, so he's going to have to commit to the finish now, you'd feel.
Yeah, you got to think he was trying to flick that yellow maybe, but possibly not. He's going to have a big shot in this frame at some point.
The thing about not moving it is just it means that any miss is going to be really costly, whereas if he had got it a bit safer, Wouldn't have mattered so much as he flirts with the right centre pocket.
It's not getting any easier.
It's that ball at the left-hand rail, because unless you're right behind it, it's not an unmissable shot. And if you are right behind it, you're definitely leaving the yellow if you miss it.
He's stunning across. He could stun across onto it now.
Yeah, it's not a bad angle. You can use the yellow as a kind of guide, as long as you hit the top of sort of the middle of the yellow, not the bottom of it. Going downstairs first.
Yeah. Maybe leaving that ball till last now. It's not the worst ball to leave till last, but it's not one you'd. It's not a natural ball you'd always choose. And the 8's in the middle of the table, so that's.
Just considering whether he can play a safety. If he just leaves the white where this red is, just wondering what he's going to be leaving.
Not keen.
I think it depends almost more on the position of the 8 ball. So we'll see if. Oh, now he's used his extension, so he's going to. Oh, well, that's a time foul, isn't it? He just played in time. Before he's taking a time out, he's just going to check that. That felt. Well, it felt like we heard the sound before the shot was played. See if we can get a replay of that for the referee to look at.
And he uses the visuals around him rather than the noises. He's looking at the screen behind him, and the screen did say that it had 1 second left on the clock. I mean, you know, how do you call a rule in there? Because I mean, he hit it in time, but the point is, if those two things are in sync, but that player, you know, can't hear and has to use the visuals, and Carl's been doing this for years. I mean, he's looking at the shot, but he's also looking at the clock in the background as well. I mean, you know, to be able to do it is just mind-blowing. But if you're using that as your guide, then what else is there? You know, you can't say, well, the gong had gone off. Well, I can't hear it. And if the two aren't in sync, there's a major problem.
Well, I mean, they've made what has to be the right decision given what you've just described. Marc Fleming. Oh, what a shot this is!
What a shot!
What a shot that is! Well, after all of that, it turned out, well, potentially to be academic. Still got this 8 ball though.
That was fabulous.
Wow, that's a big moment. There were some moments of drama when the time foul was being analysed, but in the end, Marc Fleming has pulled out a world-class shot. 4-2 now, and that's a big lead. It's only 2 frames, but given the way this match has gone, every frame has been hard fought. Plenty of time to get back into it, but Marc Fleming in the box seat at this point.
Yeah, in 1 second you're going to hear the bing. There you go. And a dry break. That would not help Carl Morris's cause at all.
Red balls in play.
Bit of work to do. 2 reds on the right side cushion. He's on the one next to the yellow now. I think you have to take that one now, don't you? Surely. We're seeing a lot of missed balls down the rail, and I think it's fantastic to see.
Extension, please.
Keeping the players honest. No one can complain, can they? I mean, it's you complain enough when the pockets are too big, but when they're playing like this, so I think he's going to take the yellow off the. Is he going to play loss of turn, or does he think it goes off the red? Looks like it's going to be a loss of turn. Oh, Carl.
Well, I guess at least from his point of view, he's played a good cue ball. Things haven't turned out too well at the other end of the table, but he's got Marc under some kind of pressure at least. Marc's not quite at the point where he can really be thinking about running down the match clock. Doesn't suit him terribly to get involved in a slowish frame here, but there's still 7 minutes remaining. Moments of quality this match, but it's had plenty of cagey moments as well. We've seen so much attacking pool played out in this main arena the last day or so. This has been by far the most tactical match we've seen. Oh, where's that yellow going?
Yeah, yellow's.
Ooh.
Oh, I thought that was going to drop. He's left Marc on here. He's left him the one to bottom left. And the reds are all there. And this really could seal the deal. You feel if he gets this one, he's not taking it on. He's not. I don't know.
Or was he taking it on and just didn't hit it hard
I
enough?
think maybe he was, yeah. I mean, the pace he played it felt like he wasn't, but surely he must have.
He was just trying to hold position bottom right, but yeah, just a bit tentative with it.
It's going to be loss of turn again from Carl. Just leave the cue ball. He's going to screw this right up this far end of the table, and hopefully leave nothing. He's going to try and get it over, screw it in behind these yellows. Potted a couple of them. That would have been okay, but it's even better now because he can just drop it behind this yellow. In fact, he may push it all the way down over this bottom pocket. Yeah, and I like the way he plays that, because in another rule set you'd have played that to hang over the pocket, but in this rule set you don't want a ball over the pocket. You want a blocking ball in, and he's played that perfectly. Played it straight into the rail, so it would come out. Marc can't use it as any kind of loss of turn shot. Very, very clever.
Oh, this has all turned out really nice for Carl Morris, because now Marc's moved the difficult ball. The yellow that Carl put over that pocket's still there. So he's got ball in hand with a nice open position. He's got plenty of time here, but he's obviously got to play under the quick shot clock. When I say plenty of time, I mean 5 minutes remaining on the match clock, so gets these balls cleared up. There's going to be 3.5, 4 minutes remaining. So still plenty of time to get back into the match. Ooh, what's he playing here though? He's lost the cue ball a bit. He's still got a shot, but not keeping tight control. Got to play a shot here, because there's a couple of balls that could get in the way of the cue ball.
Needs the gap. I think he's found it. That's a great shot.
Don't think he should have been needing to play that gap, but where he'd left himself on the previous shot, he's done well to find it. Oh, and that's a good nudge.
That could have gone wrong.
Well, Carl Morris doing as Carl Morris does. Somehow finds a way, somehow clings on in a match which could have run away from him on a couple of occasions already. Once again, he just doesn't want any of that. He just wants to get the ball split up and go for these. Well, he's potted a couple of balls. And at first glance, this looks like a good layout.
Do you know what? As sad as I am, I remember watching Marc Fleming in the Supreme Series many years ago and seeing how many times he feathers the ball, and I counted them, and he hits the ball on the 17th stroke. I've counted it twice in this match, and he still hits the ball on the 17th stroke every single time. It's like he counts them or something. Go back and watch it. It's 17th stroke every time he hits the ball. He feathers it 17 times. It's just
That's amazing. Because normally you'd be talking about 2 or 3, wouldn't you?
It was just something I noticed. I remember like from 4 or 5 years ago. And it's bizarre.
Great chance this to open up a 2-frame lead. That
Yeah,
2-frame lead's going to be big with only, it's going to be about 2 minutes remaining at that point.
Everything he could have hoped for. And I don't know if you noticed in the background there, Carl just raised his hands to the sky in frustration. What have I got to do? Fight back, and you know, what can you say? Break like that, get yourself the opportunity. Very, very nice from Marc Fleming. That's exactly what the doctor ordered. Ooh, just grazed that near knuckle on the way through. They are wide open.
Come on!
Oh, how has he come up dry there?
How is that dry?
See Carl's reaction here.
Yeah, you can shout at me. That red in the bottom corner, how is that not dropped in?
Extension, please.
Frustration. You can understand why. Just wanted a chance.
And now it's so painful. Marc Fleming's called the extension. It's just stood there. The time's just running away. Carl might get another chance in this frame. It may not. It may be that Marc just clears up. But even if he does get another chance, it's not going to be enough, because anything less than 2 frames doesn't serve him.
Yeah, Marc can quite happily watch the clock run down here, knowing that he can take a minute off of the clock and all the work's done. I feel for Carl, he battled all the way through this one, but hats off to Marc Fleming. After losing that long first frame, and obviously Carl had chances in the second frame to go 2-0. Marc really fought through this one, and it's a very good performance from him.
Marc will be playing the winner of Ronan McCarthy and Cole Bedford. It's our next game on the table as Carl Morris comes over and offers a handshake. He knows that there isn't time to get back into it. Not often you see a concession at that moment, but Marc Fleming will gratefully accept it, because that was a match that could have sneaked away from him, despite the fact that he looked the more likely winner for large chunks of it.